2. Part 2. Archival document 1471-1. No, SCP-1471 as posted on application stores. MalO version 1. Free. Reviews 0. Description. Never settle for this awkward feeling of being alone ever again. MalO is an exciting and interactive experience that will keep you engaged and intrigued. The anxiety of social situations can be nerve-wracking, but after a few hours of MalO, you will soon forget all about those painful emotions of disappointment. Be a part of the new craze that is quickly becoming the next social substitute. Remember, the more you participate, the more MalO will engage you. Your experience is completely up to you. Absolutely no ads. Enjoy. I was scared when I first saw him. It happened just as you told me. The messages, the pictures, seeing him around every corner afterwards. I was so young. Who would have lost it? William sighed. By then, he was over the creature following him. It wasn't like it was going to go away, no matter how much he begged or pleaded or attempted to bribe. He knew that the best and only solution would just be used to Capone being there. At least he had the solace of, I have no idea how to read these, of knowing he wasn't going insane. Believe me, William, I know how many people have reacted the same way. Fear is a more common reaction to the unknown than you'd think. Dr. Laura Brienne's comments. I don't know how to read these doctors' names. Consoled him. These cases weren't exactly common, but they were commonly known. It's not even that I'm afraid of him anymore. I mean, he makes me jump when I see him in the morning. I don't think I'll ever get used to that. It's just the bad connotations he has. But whatever. William rebuked. I give up. I know that he does, but it happened 2 years ago. I know it's hard for you, especially with your shadow, but you just need to carry on. Whatever stated. William just sighed as she continued. Our session was almost up. We made some real progress, William. I want you to go get something for me when you get home. Do something when you get home. Do you have any homework or anything? I did it all on my break. Good. When you get home, I want to think back on your first experience and write as much as you feel comfortable sharing. Is that all right? Yeah, thanks for seeing me. It wasn't too long a drive from the doctor's office to home. 5, possibly 10 minutes if there was a train. He always saw the creature through the rear view mirror when he drove, riding the back seat. It looked innocent, in its own alien way, waving to William as he saw it. Despite everything, William found himself talking to it, like one would talk to a dog or cat about their day when they're alone. It seemed to listen when he talked, and after a while, he could swear that it understood. It's hard to tell with a face like that, so all there were to go by were various head tilts and waves, and even then, he had to teach it how to wave. At least I know you're interested. Drop the backpack near the door, go to the patio, wave to the Capone from the mirror, fridge, drink, chair, crash. William's afternoon routine was more clockwork than it should be. He thought back to his session with Dr. She wanted me to try and recapture the experience when I first saw him, huh? William mumbled as he grabbed a few sheets of paper and a pen. Bit by bit, he pieced together the sequence that led up to this point. I have Capone with me ever since I was 15 years old. I remember that my 28-year-old Sarah brought up an app that she downloaded earlier at the dinner table one night. She had no idea how it does it, but hazarded a guess that it tracks you through your phone's GPS and sends you pictures of the place you've been with a really cute monster placed in the phone, trying to make it look like it's following you. It didn't seem that weird. I recall that Google Maps could get a decent ground photo at the time, so just add Photoshop to that, and you'd have a gimmick. Plus, we knew it couldn't be a virus. The App Store checks every app for things like that before peddling it. The only thing I found legitimately off about it was the time that was both free and adless. Her explanation of it sounded pretty cool to me, so I asked Sarah to help me download it on my phone. She told me that while my old hand-me-down flip phone did have something like an app store, it most likely didn't have MalO. It didn't stop her from looking, though. Sarah was a good sister. She really could have told me to just get out of her hair, but she always took the time out of her day for me, packing my lunch, playing with me, bringing me to R-rated movies that I was clearly too young for. I was lucky to have her as a legal guardian when our parents went away. I was too young to process it all when it happened, but Mom and Dad died from a head-on collision with a drunk driver. Sarah took care of me as my legal guardian up until I moved out for college. God knows where I'd be if she didn't. After some prodding, she found the app, which was a surprise to the both of us. It was obvious that my phone didn't have any kind of GPS, but neither of us had even thought about it until much, much later. Soon enough, I reached my first picture. I'll never understand the way Sarah saw the world. If that was our idea of cute, the photo was taken in my school's courtyard with the creature I'd soon call Capone sitting on one of the benches. You can barely see him, but there he was, covered in his black matted fur with his knife-like claws, a set of pure white eyes, and a skull face, and that of a face which was merely a skull belonging to some kind of large beast, looking at us with that large wolfish grin. I gave the phone back to Sarah, telling her how terrifying it was, and that I didn't want the messages anymore. She just jokingly punched my shoulder, saying, "Oh, don't be such a baby. It is too cute. Look how happy it is to meet you." I looked back at his face, his wide grin specifically. I have to admit, I laughed at that. It was just the sheer wrongness of that statement that made me listen to the next. All right, I need to take a break real quick. I'm not ending the video, I'm just pausing it. I'm sure he'll grow on you eventually. Tell you what, if you can put up with him for one whole week, we'll see that movie you want to see. If he still gives you nightmares, we'll delete it. If you end up liking it, we'll laugh about it later. Deal? I looked up at the picture again. It appeared that getting a photo every now and then was the extent of this was going to. And looking at it in hindsight, I probably would have kept it on for next to nothing if she really wanted me to. So I agreed. Sarah was ecstatic after that and assured me that I wouldn't regret it while showing me some of her own pictures. She only had 3 so far, one at her office, one at the park, and another on the road we lived on. Wow. Each picture containing her own clearly visible entity. I must have looked nervous or something, because she suggested that I name mine like she did with her Cassandra. I thought about it for a second. Let me make something clear, though, because it seems to come up whenever I tell people this. I did not name my MalO Capone because of the incident with my parents. I didn't know that my mom and dad's arrest involved alcohol at the time. I named him after a history lesson after a history lesson I found amusing in school where people's fear got the best of them. And as my teacher put it, it ended up doing more harm than good. It was intended as a reminder that I shouldn't be making the same mistake. I saw a bit of light in this whole thing after getting a mock title and thought it wasn't going to be that bad. I went to bed and my normal life went on for just a little longer. I continued to get pictures of Capone for a while, following me at school, the bus stop, my street, virtually everywhere I went. It wasn't until the third or fourth day when I got called in from class, I was thinking that I was in trouble for something, even if I didn't know what. But as soon as I saw Sarah, that feeling was stifled. She looked very shaken. The instant she saw me, she immediately yanked at my arm and brought me to the car. Sarah was not looking good at all. She kept asking me things like if I saw him or received any photos from him with me in the images. I haven't checked anything from today, but when I checked through it too, I remembered exactly when and where those messages were taken, because during them, I made a mental note that I got from text from Capone. They've been sent as soon as they've been taken. Sarah knew that we were being pursued by something. She probably had no idea by what they were, and I knew she had no idea how they were doing it. But she knew that they knew where we lived. She couldn't figure out how to delete it. She said she tried everything but couldn't find a way to get it off. She couldn't even find where the app went. I'm not even sure what we were planning to do, but before we could even fully plan a course of action, I got another text. Sarah froze and stared at me as if to say, "Don't look at it." If I didn't, I could have a semi-normal life right now. It would have been over the news within the weeks, and we would have known. But I did it. I opened the phone, and there we are, just sitting out there with that fear-stricken look on our face. The photo was clearly taken from the hood of the moving car, giving us a clear view of what was behind us. He took up most of the back seat, and we towered over me. We both turned around, preparing to scream at the monstrosity behind us. But when we did, the seat was empty. We didn't know what was happening or what to make of it, but we felt the only thing is to run away, abandoning the car. We hastily ditched the car and ran the rest of the way to the apartment and locked the door behind us. We locked ourselves in the bathroom and waited. We just stayed there. Even when we got a message from Cassandra or Capone, Sarah would scream at them, asking why they were following us, and begged for us to leave us alone. We felt helpless against them. All we felt we could do was just sit in the bathroom and hope they would go away. The room felt like our only safe haven until we were exposed for too long. Sarah started to panic, saying that she kept seeing one of them behind her. I wasn't seeing it, though. I was more concerned about trying to calm her down by telling her that maybe they weren't really there than I was about seeing Capone in the mirror. I convinced Sarah that we needed to leave the room out of necessity. We couldn't stay in the apartment forever, and if they wanted to give us, they would have done so already. We called the police, and here we are. We both got help, but I was the lucky one. Everybody's case put it in terms of interaction, but for me, Capone was always in a mirror or some reflective thing large enough to show him. He was predictable, and I could always find ways to block him out when I needed it. I'm just going to skip the rest of this. Actually, if you want to read the rest of this, download the app SCP Reader, because that's what I'm using right now. See you guys.